Hello everyone, my name's Poppy. I'm from Imperial College London, and today I will be presenting my research on wood flammability in the context of timber facades. The flammability of facade cladding has been a topical subject following the Grenfell Tower tragedy where 72 people lost their lives. In the inquiry, it was found that the flame spread rate was greatly accelerated by the aluminium composite material cladding on the outside of the building. In recent years, the use of timber in facades has increased, as timber is a natural, renewable resource which has been recommended for use in construction for a low-carbon future. However, timber is considered a flammable material, and timber facade flammability has been questioned following the Barking balcony fire in 2019. The Lautenberger model was used within GPyro to assess the properties of timber which influences flammability. This model is a physical and chemical model which simulates the one-dimensional behaviour of white pine slabs in a cone calorimeter setup. It is a well-respected model and has been validated with experimental data. A sensitivity study was conducted to find out which material properties the time to ignition is most sensitive to. The times to reach two ignition criteria were investigated. These were the time to reach the critical surface temperature of 300 degrees and the time to reach the critical mass loss rate of 3.5 grams per meter squared per second. The figures on the left showed that the time to reach the critical surface temperature was most sensitive to emissivity, followed by density, thermal conductivity, and specific heat capacity. The emissivity governs the heat flux absorbed by the wood, thus increasing emissivity decreases the ignition time. Dependence on specific heat capacity can be explained using energy considerations, as wood with an increased specific heat capacity will require more energy to raise the temperature, which will take longer under a constant heat flux. Increased density will increase the mass of the wooden slab as the volume of the slab remains constant, which will require more energy to raise the temperature. As for the time to reach the critical surface temperature, the figures on the right show that the time to reach the critical mass loss rate is most sensitive to the emissivity, followed by the specific heat capacity and density. Similar results for both criteria are because the two ignition criteria are linked. The rate of the release of volatiles, which is the mass loss rate, is dependent on the rate of pyrolysis, which is dependent on the temperature of the sample. Both ignition criteria show a low sensitivity to moisture content. This is unexpected and contradicts the literature. High moisture content will require a prolonged drying reaction time, as the energy required to evaporate the water will be greater. Simulations were conducted on timber facade panels which were modified to reduce their flammability, using the same model but with different boundary conditions. Densified wood or superwood and timber panels with low emissivity coatings were simulated. The application of a low emissivity coating increased the time to reach the critical surface temperature from 18 seconds for unmodified wood to 29 and 55 seconds when the emissivity is reduced to 80% and 60% of its original value. This is an increase of 300%. Similar results were obtained for the mass loss rate. This type of coating is used in the construction industry to produce low emissivity glass. For a facade application, the lifetime of coating in an outdoor environment must be considered, as rain and moisture may degrade the coating. It is recommended that the application of low emissivity coatings to wood is investigated, as the results of this study indicate a 300% increase in ignition time for a 40% reduction in emissivity. Wood densification has shown to increase ignition times through simulations of superwood, though it is recommended that this technology be explored further for structural members due to superwood's outstanding material properties and the increase of mass of wood, which may make it unsuitable for use in facades. Other techniques of densification could be explored, such as impregnation with bio-waste derived fillers. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to ask any questions.